of the biggest keys to unblocking a wealth of success and one of the most uncomfortable truths in our reality is that whatever it is, it's your fault. You broke a bone and got in a car accident? Your fault. You're mad at someone for being an asshole? Your fault. You're poor and mad at the world for inflation? It's your fault. These might sound like your wife's shit double standards or the hard-ass rules and way of life that your grandfather enforced, but either way, it's your fault. Unfortunately, the value of this saying is shrouded in so much negativity because people tend to be very defensive, very, very defensive nowadays. I thought that could use a little more emphasis. And not too often do they utilize that oversized noggin of theirs. But the true takeaway in this message, and the thing that will save you years upon years upon years of time and money and just overall resource, as well as the thing you've likely, just about everyone, you've heard just about everyone say or in your life tell you at some point or another, is take responsibility. And yes, albeit it is a very extreme view on things to take responsibility for everything in life. It is a big weight to handle. You may be wondering how this is possible. How do you do it? Well, everything in life boils down to you and your perception of reality. So, in the end, how do you feel and what you decide to see the world as is solely you, right? When you take responsibility, you essentially go into the problem-solving mode and you ask, how can I change this? Or what do I do? What can I do? Rather than asking blank or making blank and irrational statements like, how could that have happened? Or why is everyone against me? Right? You begin turning your problems inward and you just, rather than leaving them as like opened up to other people and the universe to sort out, whenever it gets a chance and a break from its busy schedule. Right? Don't rely on other people to sit here and solve your problems and sort them out for you, because really only you have your true interest in mind. Here's some examples. Everyone hates me. Or, why does everyone hate me? Ask yourself why you think that. What did the other person do to make you think that they hate you? What did you assume those actions or words actually meant? And what did you do to further question the reality or rationality of the situation? Alright? As opposed to asking such an open-ended question that you could never possibly find the one true correct answer to. Like, why does everyone hate me? What comes to mind there? I'm a shitty person. Well then, what do you do about that? Why? Become a better person? How do you do that? There's a lot that encompasses that, and no one has the time to sort through all that. So, just skip straight to it and ask why, or what you can do. Now, this kind of ties into what I was going to talk about. The only thing you know and could be an expert on is yourself. So utilize that extensive knowledge by reframing your questions and your way of thinking to ask yourself, how can you take more responsibility? Right? And this is an observance of the law, 9 out of 10 people assume everything for the worst. It's human nature after all, it's a survival technique that's built up and kept us safe for thousands of years, blah, blah, blah. However, in most cases, everyone around you has their heads just as far up their ass as you do, if not more. If you're reading this, you're even more aware than they are, because you're at least acknowledging some of what I said to be true, and you're curious. People don't often understand the impact that they have on other people with their small mannerisms, minor facial expressions, or like altered tones, right? So if you think someone is upset with you, or you're unsure about how someone meant something or how they're treating you, ask them. Take the responsibility to realize that not everything is the way that you see it. And there are other perceptions, there are other ways of seeing it, there are other realities built into yours. Right? And solve the issue of uncertainty by being proactive and asking what they meant, or how they saw or how they meant it, right? Rather than either waiting for them, right? Which rarely ever happens. Like waiting for them to clarify to you or come to you on their own and apologize, which rarely happens because they don't even know they did something wrong half the times because they weren't paying attention, right? Or, you could assume that, the answer, giving your feelings, or, assume the answer and give your feelings time to heal, which also is a bad idea because in the future you could look back and use it as evidence to support future self-deprecating claims. You may think you sound annoying, but people want to be understood. They want to be listened to because so few people are actually taking the time to listen and understand those around them, as well as their feelings. Hence the depressive epidemic we face currently. But, and this is the last part of the video, but I want you to realize that you don't have to be in a romantic relationship with someone or to be long-term best friends to work on your relationship with them. Everyone you meet and you have a relationship with. Hell, you have a relationship even with the people you haven't met, right? Or, have only nodded and made brief eye contact with. Why are you friends with the people you are friends with now? Why is your family the way that it is? Why are you and your partner together? Because you put effort into a relationship. You offered each other something, right? It could be anything. A legal obligation to support you, some kind of openness or shared experience, possibly some kind of gesture, like this kind gesture of nodding and listening, and one day you asked them how their day went and they opened up to you a little bit, or even just sex and physical intimacy in a relationship. My point is that you can become best friends and create a relationship, a deeper relationship, with literally anyone you meet. I know this seems like common sense, but I don't think a lot of us fully have this clarity of mind to realize how simple reality kind of is, all the while being so complex. People appreciate the extra effort and will happily accept it when it is offered, right? Despite the amount, most people is vying for attention nowadays, and those who are able to spend some are paid back in dividends of loyalty and lifetime connections. Simply taking time to ask, how do you mean that? And listening can give a wealth of knowledge and understanding of not only the person you're talking to that allows you to interact with them better in the future and more efficiently, and you can feel closer to them and less lonely, but it helps teach you about the world and enforces good social practices. Right? I know that this seemed to have gotten a bit off on a rant, sounded a bit off topic, but remember how we got here. By taking responsibility, as opposed to the equally long but negative pathway that just assuming things can blindly take you. Or assuming things blindly can take you. Emphasis was on the wrong area there. This was only one example of how beneficial this way of thinking can be to your life. Remember, it's your fault. Take responsibility and stay on task. I love you, bro.